Okay, almost punk enough. Episode 3, right?
Yeah, third one.
And we'll see if I decided to put the slapstick song at the beginning of this one. It sounds you guys were talking some shit about me playing that on the first one, I think. Jeff.
Yeah, that was all Jeff. I have no idea if he ended up getting in trouble for it or what happened there.
I like rolling the dice. But yeah, Mike Elfers here. That's good enough for me. With my friend Ed, Bad Dad, reuniting again. This time to do our news items and kind of talk through the podcast without our editor Jeff. And this is an exciting one. We did an interview with World of Chaos. Me and Dan did. Group of kids from the East Coast doing some pretty sweet thrash music, and we got to talk to them. And we do have some news items to go over, some releases, but I think first, Ed and I were going to talk about the 800-pound elephant wearing a Nazi shirt in the room that got kicked out of punk rock bowling. I've had the pleasure of enjoying the video twice since it aired. Have you been able to watch the whole thing?
I've watched it at least 35 times. It's so fun. Every time he falls backwards, it's good. It's high comedy.
Yeah, and getting clocked, the one like good jab that the guy got in there was pretty sweet. But just seeing a big tough guy trip and fall backwards on his own is
Yep.
pretty fucking hilarious. So I do want to say this. I personally don't know all of the like Nazi merchandise to look out for. I wish there was like a handbook or something. Because if that
You'd
guy
probably
was
get in
standing,
trouble for reading that too.
that's true. But if that guy was standing next to me at a show, I guess I wouldn't know. Do you know what this SS specifically?
I mean, I know what the SS is, and I know that the lightning symbols are not cool whatsoever.
Hmm.
But no, I probably would not have put it all together. But I also couldn't make out what the front of his shirt said.
I guess
Um,
that's true.
and if that was just Hail Hitler, then obviously you kind of know what that stands for. Not a
Yeah,
lot of nuance in it.
that's true. And I of course am incredibly guilty of going on Facebook and looking at comments all the time, whether it's like weeding through the transphobes in the punk rock bass players group, or just, and it's horrible. I need to not do it. I've been trying to live a more positive life, and when you find yourself reading what the negative side of history has to say, but I'm not really seeing much of anybody sticking up for this guy. The majority of the negative comments have just said, I can't believe they let him leave with his head still attached to his body, which is,
Right. And they recognized it, and he got as far into. I mean, for him to walk out as far as he had to, he also had to walk in that far. So somebody recognized it at some point. Hopefully, immediately took action. But for all we know, he could have been in there for 6 sets before it was pointed out to somebody. And then obviously, once you have that gang mentality, it's easy to help take the trash out.
and I attended a punk rock bowling not that many years ago. It was when Devo headlined, and I was at, I think, my drunkest and most Lexapro while drunk in my life. So I took a lot of trips from the stage that we saw this confrontation happen all the way to the merch tents that happen towards the front gate. And it is a jog. And if it's anything like it was the year I attended, once you exit those doors, you're done attending for the day. You can't go back to your hotel room and then come back.
And come back. Okay.
It's kind of a one and done each day of the festival, and which was incredibly difficult for my broke ass, because me and my dipshit friends had to determine how much like $8 whiskey we wanted to drink in our hotel room in order to make it to see Pears play, because they played relatively early the first day that we got there. But it was very pleasing to kind of know my way around the surroundings and watch this video and see, oh, they're going through here. Oh, they're going through Merch Row. He's getting kicked out of the whole thing. But I am curious if this guy, if he actually speaks out and says something, because he did spend $300, some money, to just get completely toasted from a festival.
So yeah, I don't necessarily want to hear his side of it, but I am concerned about the whole GoFundMe, go fuck yourself. I'm sure you remember a couple weeks ago, the woman who had some choice words for a child at a playground who ended up raising more money than I'll probably ever see, because bigotry works. I have to assume that he's probably going to be able to pull in a fair amount of money if he does decide to go that route.
Mm-hmm. And that's a dangerous thing about hate and the internet and where we're sitting right now politically. Is I feel like 20 years ago, somebody would get their ass kicked for wearing a Nazi shirt, and they'd maybe start making more life choices, like better life choices. And now we're in this situation where, the dipshits that fire a gun at a group of spectators, yeah, they get fundraisers and they get to go on Fox News and tell their side of the story. They become celebrity. They become viral over the event. And yeah, it's really disappointing.
I don't know that I agree about 20 years ago being that much different, only because the guy wearing the Confederate flag shirt that got his ass kicked is not going to necessarily see those 40 people again. So he could wear that shirt the next time and say, oh, you should have seen what I did to him. Now that it's on video, I feel like it's actually kind of forces you, the world gets to see it. It forces you to make some different choices, or
Yeah.
really dig your heels in.
Well, it makes me think of the episode of South Park where the bully gets made fun of by his favorite band, Radiohead, like to his face.
Yeah.
Like there's some justice in that. I'm not sure what this guy was going there in particular to go watch, or if he was watching his favorite band play when it went down. But it is fucking satisfying to watch.
Yeah, it was pretty great, and like we talked about, watching him fall backwards on his own. It was nice to see him get kicked. It was nice to see him get a punch to the face. But watching him just trip backwards and look like the asshole that we've all looked like when we fall down backwards, it was just quite the satisfying situation.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there was one point where he was being pushed out, and a group of people kind of notified him that he was walking backwards. He was about to walk right into somebody, I think, that had a one of those crutches on wheels,
Mm-hmm.
and that was pretty funny too. I haven't put any like Charlie Chaplin silent film music behind it yet, but somebody should. I think that would be pretty great. America's Funniest Home Videos. But it is nice, especially coming off of our conversation in episode 1 about the Punk in the Park guys' potentially awful and abhorrent political donations, for us to be talking, just 2 episodes later about some sweet justice.
At a similar punk festival, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I think that we have talked that into the ground. Let's go over some talking points here, so
Yes.
Jeff doesn't yell at us. I'm going to let you steer this.
So this week, that's good enough for me. Had a good amount of news posts and reviews that have gone up. Jason Zero ran his review. It's a first impression review, which means that he got to listen to it once, and then he wrote about it real quick. So it's a fun little change. So the song was "Fight Back" by Dave Strong. Usually it's more of like poppy punk that Dave Strong does, but he kind of stepped out of his element. So it's a real good listen. And obviously Jason's review of it is fantastic because everything he does is pretty fantastic with that. So that was a lot of fun to get to listen to. And then we also had a premiere today of Haunt 2 covering Valoria, the Pixies track. It's going to be released on Friday as part of the album Debased. It's a Pixies tribute. It's coming out on Sweet Cheetah Records on the 30th of May, and it benefits Border Angels, which is a pro-migrant charity that does a lot of really good work across the country.
That's great. I actually was a big fan of the Pixies tribute album that came out in the late '90s, and I thought about it recently. I thought about a lot of those. I listened to the Duran Duran tribute album, if you remember that one, that came out around the same time. All of these albums have way more ska than I could ever imagine remembering. But Weezer covered Valoria previously and did a fucking awesome job. I think I might have heard the Weezer version before I heard the Pixies one. That is some poser trivia for you.
I think I actually heard the entire album before I heard my first Pixies track. So outside of Monkey Gone to Heaven, Where's My Mind, I think that was my entire exposure to the Pixies for quite some time.
Well, that's great. That's why we do the tribute albums, right?
Exactly, yeah. We also got a new unofficial video from Catbite of Tired of Talk. It's the unofficial video because they've already released the video. The original video was mostly animated. It was very Emily the Strange-ish, and it was absolutely brilliant. But the entire record, Doom Garden, is fantastic. And this new unofficial video, it's all of the outtakes and set against the green screen. There's cows cows out in the pasture doing their thing, and then Catbite putting off just a fantastic ska track. So that was quite a good time to check out if you haven't gotten a chance to watch that one. I really enjoyed the video for that.
You made a typo in your notes. I got to point this out because it's making me smile. Patrick Stump. Oh, sorry, Ed.
No, I'm all about accountability.
Now let's hear about the Happy Campers interview series. And I am a busy asshole, and I haven't read much of your Happy Camper stuff. So can you explain it to me like I'm 8, and then give me the news item?
Yeah, so there's really not a lot to explain about it. It's written interviews with the performers that are at Camp Punksylvania. So this is our 3rd year doing these interview series with them. And every year I try to play a little bit into the camp side of it, asking questions about like what song you would be singing around the fireplace, what's your go-to campfire meal, what do you want the campers to write home about your performance, things like that. But then obviously we get into real questions with them as well, about the show and about their sound and what they're doing and how they feel about certain issues that are going on. So we ran our first one for the year, and it's our 3rd time being able to interview Laura Rose, who's the co-founder and CEO of Camp Punksylvania. And for the 3rd straight year, she's been such a delight to be able to speak to. She's just an absolute boss, and she's got a very powerful way of looking at things. And as a girl dad, I'm sure that you're in a similar boat where if you get to watch women do women things better than most men can, it's a lot of fun. And she does it super well. So one of the big things with camp that she kind of pointed out this year is that it's just very different than most festivals that we have. Diversity is so huge, and it shows across their crew. So their crew, 60% of them have the they them pronouns, 43.4% are she her. So almost 60% of them are non-cis white males, and then 40.6% go by he him. That's not to mention the ridiculous diversity that's in the performances as well. The OBGMs are playing this year. Thick and Beef are both fantastic. Soji, they played last year, and they were probably my favorite set from there last year. My now 16-year-old daughter, she accompanied me last year, and she was blown away by them. So they're somebody I'm really looking forward to when they play on the first night, which was going to be June 20th. But yeah, so anytime I get to speak to Laura, it's really insightful. She really has her finger on the pulse, if you will. And one of the coolest things about it is that last year during Camp Punksylvania, one of the first nights, they had the Shadow Stage, which is like a late night performance stage. But the punk rock cellist played, and he brought up this kid. Kid's name was Gabe. He I don't remember what it was that he played. I think it was Linoleum that he helped cover, but Gabe came up on the mic and he sang the song for the punk rock cellist, and did an awesome job. And then a couple nights later, I'm watching, I believe it was the Bronx, and I look over and the kids crowd surfing through. Um, can't be more than 12, 13 at the time. He's a young guy, so it's awesome to see that the new scene is kind of growing around it. And then this year, he's actually performing for Camp Punksylvania as part of his band, which is World of Chaos, the new thrash band from the East Coast. It's all made up of teenagers, and they just put out such an awesome album this year.
You are a fucking segue doctor, my friend.
Thank you.
So, moving on next. Actually, I got to divert real quick because I need a kid dad to talk to about this. We were reading the Junie B. Jones book that my daughter just got from the library. I don't know if you've read it. Junie B. Jones is kind of a little snot, little shit kid. And there's a lot. She talks as a kindergartner or a first grader would. So she says things that my daughter says, like, why does she say sketty instead of spaghetti? And I have to explain that it's written from the perspective of like a kindergartner, and that she didn't always pronounce everything really well. Well, speaking of camp food, campfire food, they talked about a can of Beanie Weenie, and my daughter and my wife, who was born in 1988, both thought it was the funniest word that had ever been invented. That was a thing when we were kids, right?
So the cans of beans with mini cocktail hot dogs in them were definitely a thing, but I have never once heard them referred to as Beanie Weenies.
I remember the can saying Beanie Weenie on it. But
I do not recall that whatsoever.
Okay. Well, the news items we just went over, as well as an ability to contact Jeff to let him know your opinions about the Mandela effect of Beanie Weenie cans, are available at that'sgoodenough4me.com. But yeah, now that I've wiped shit all over your segue, me and my friend Dan got to meet with World of Chaos and do a interview over Zoom on Memorial Day and talk about their band, their influences, and we caught them right after band practice, which I thought was really lovely. So we got 3/4 of the band to meet with us and go over what their band's all about and their release. So that is right now. I'm so bad at that.
Killer segue.
Hey, thanks. You did such a good job. I just couldn't. So here it is. Here's our interview with Gabe, Janelle, and Weston of World of Chaos. Cool. All right, Mike, with That's Good Enough for Me, almost punk enough with our friend Dan, and we are interviewing World of Chaos. East Coast thrash, punk, whatever you want to call it. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great.
Good.
Yep.
You rehearse on Mondays? Is that why we're catching you guys at the same place?
Yeah, we rehearse all the time, but
Yeah.
we did have practice
Is it
today.
usually like Tuesday or Thursday? I don't know.
Well, now it's usually like Sunday.
It's kind of rare. It's usually
It changes because of our schedule.
Yeah, because so me and him are homeschooled, and then
We don't need to.
you and the drummer both do sports. So
Yeah.
during the school year, it's kind of complicated to figure out schedules, but we make it work.
Sweet. So I was listening to your record, Erased from Existence, and my compliments to it. It's a great record. It sounds authentic. It sounds like it could have come out in 1991 or 2025 and still sounded the way that it did, which is a difficult thing to do. So I guess to just come right out of the gate, how do you take your influences of punk or thrash or whatever you want to call what you're doing, and write something timeless and authentic, being as you are younger than me?
Yeah. I mean, I take a lot of influence from just like crossover thrash bands, for example, DRI, Municipal Waste, SOD, a lot of stuff like that. But I mean, usually just me and the drummer, we're the main songwriters, and he'll just like make a drum beat, or I'll make a riff, and then he'll make a beat to my riff, or I'll make a riff to his beat, whatever happens, and then we kind of build a song from there.
Sweet. And to kind of bounce off of that, your discography is small but growing. How much is left like on the cutting room floor when you're writing these, or is this just kind of like every song that you've written up until this point?
I think, is it every single?
I mean,
yeah.
there's like
Yeah,
there's like
we've-
different version songs that like we've like
There are?
changed and stuff. I mean, like I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe that's just like the writing.
yeah. I mean,
process.
I guess we've like played songs on Erase from Resistance live before they were up on the EP. And we like changed some things. Like we had a solo in Thrash Can, and we got rid of it because it was like not great. So
I have some questions about your song titles and topics from
Yeah.
your new EP. Is Stinky Steve like a reference to a real person, somebody you know?
okay, so I was in a band with my dad for a little bit, and their guitarist Steve, he was like since I was the like kid, I was always stuck in the back of the van, and he was the second shortest, so he was also stuck in the back of the van. So he would like fart a lot. So that's where we got
He's a very stinky
Nice.
Yeah, he's
guy.
very stinky. he's like
It's not like
it's not like a
not-
not in a bad way. He's just stinky. He's just a fact.
And your other song, your bass player sucks, is is that
Yeah, that
something
that's
you want to
kind of-
comment on?
So can you explain like how you got him?
Yeah, you wrote that one.
Yeah, so
Yeah, you
I
wrote
lyrics.
yeah I wrote the lyrics for it. But yeah, basically Gabe taught me bass for this band. So yeah, I'm probably like the least experienced in the band.
Yeah, you were a classical.
Yeah,
guitar
I do
player.
play classical guitar before that, so I wasn't coming from like zero experience, but yeah, that was kind of where we got the inspiration for that, because
Yeah,
I do kind of suck.
and you do a really really good. You do
Nice.
a really good bass solo. If
Oh,
you
yeah.
bass player sucks.
So with the dated, I guess authentic music, the self-deprecated humor of that time is also having a revival. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Nice. I wanted to talk about the production of the drum recording. Did you guys record the album live, or did you do each instrument one at a time?
So it was pretty complicated. So we recorded all the drums I recorded most of it at my house, but I couldn't figure out how to do the drums because it was like really hard to record every single thing at once. So we just went to like a studio in our town, some guy's basement, and he recorded it for like $40 an hour, and yeah, they sounded sick. Yeah, so for the guitar, bass, and vocals, I recorded that in my room on like a little on a recording software.
Killer. And that's Dark Prophet Audio. You did the drums?
Yep.
Cool. No, it sounds fantastic. It sounds like you're standing in the same room together playing your instruments, if that makes sense, which is the goal, right?
Oh, and I just want to say, so he only recorded on our bass player sucks because that's the only one he could
Yeah.
play. And if you listen to the bass on that track, it's
It's very good.
yeah, we can just say it's very good.
Heard. Perfect. No, I love it. So you said you played music with your father. How did the rest of you all find each other playing in a band at the same time?
So me and the drummer Jaden, me and him have been playing music together for about 2 or 3 years. I'd say probably 3 now. And so we were in like a not great hardcore band, just like jamming and making some dumb songs. So we scrapped all those because they were really bad, and we were like, let's start a thrash band. So then we had this kid that played guitar. So I was on bass and vocals, because he was better at guitar than me. So he recorded the first EP. Then after that, he decided to leave. And then I was like, okay, we got to find a new guitarist. You were gonna play guitar, but you couldn't do the solos. So I was like, okay, I'll do guitar, you do bass. Then in like, I think it was like November, December. I mean, you guys are like neighbors, so you like told me about Janelle, and she joined the band because she was good enough at guitar.
Good enough. Jeez.
Good enough. Jeez. We all suck. I'm not just saying you
Yeah,
suck. We
no.
all suck.
I get it.
Well, I think that when you're playing, I guess timeless punk music, you're not supposed to be thinking whether or not any band members can, go through a Rush song on stage or anything that complicated. And historically speaking, I mean, your band was introduced to me as like, oh, it's these kids that play thrash, it's these kids that play punk music. But like historically speaking, the very first Suicidal Tendencies recordings that I listened to, they were in high school, I think, right? Dan, you know this shit more than I do.
I'm not positive, but I will have to say the first time I heard you World of Chaos play, I didn't know your ages and I had no idea. And then I found out, I was kind of not only impressed, but kind of shocked because it did not sound like, it sounded like a band that had been playing for quite some time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can trade. I can send my Blink-182 covers I did when I was 15.
I did that kind of recently. Like before I joined the band, me and my dad would just jam in the basement. We would play like Blink-182 and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you get into like the thrash style?
Well, I mean, like my parents are into that, and I mean, I always listen to that stuff because like I grew up on music like that. But I don't know. I feel like this band has also got me like
Yeah,
into it.
I like never listened to or was interested in this kind of music at all before I joined the band.
Is your favorite artist Una Miles?
Stop.
Yeah.
How did you get into thrash? It's always,
I heard you mention like Municipal Waste and Suicidal Tendencies. Did you listen to that growing up, or your parents, or?
I mean, my parents, they've always been into hardcore and punk, and like my first introduction to this kind of music was Bad Religion, and then from there I got into more screamy stuff, and now really into thrash. I still love punk and hardcore and just metal, but I think, I don't know, crossover thrash is probably my favorite genre because it's like a mix between hardcore and metal.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I do feel it is. The style you play is kind of crossover to people who aren't fully into it and more into just punk stuff. It kind of appeals to both.
And it's always super offensive, right, to tell anybody that plays in a band that they sound like another band.
I mean, if we sound like if it's like someone that's like not, I don't know, if it's like a good band, I'd take it as a compliment.
as long as someone doesn't really sound like Taylor Swift or something.
Mhm. Well, so I had a roommate that was super into Hatebreed, and he listened to Hatebreed all the time, and I remembered it being like kind of cool, and I put it in recently, and instrumentally I thought it was awesome, but the singer just kind of, I don't know, he sounded like a camp counselor, if that makes sense, like a 50-year-old camp counselor that was singing.
Yeah, I love Hatebreed. They're good. They're really good. I've seen them a lot of times. I've seen them like open for Anthrax, and I met Joey Belladonna from Anthrax because we were waiting. We wanted to meet some of the Hatebreed guys, so we waited outside of the venue, and the singer comes walking out with Joey from Anthrax. So we got to meet Joey, and I got to stand inside stage for Anthrax, which was crazy.
So if you're just tuning in, I've been playing shitty punk music for 30 years, and these kids with more street cred than me just put me on my ass. So.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
You didn't?
No, I didn't. Oh.
That's funny.
I just watched your video for tax evasion, and I couldn't help notice you were playing on a mini ramp, skate ramp.
Yep.
Is that something one of you are into? Is that one of your ramps you skate or?
You're pretty good at skating, I'd say. And then Jaden's a scooter kid.
No.
Yeah.
Um, I had the worst um
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
yeah
when we
that
recorded
that music video
Neither
I was
neither of us were
yeah
in it.
neither of you guys were in it, but I was holding his poop that whole time. I had a horrible diarrhea.
Oh my
that was not the
gosh.
question. That was not the
I-
question. It's fine.
In between each take, I just had to go use the porta potty. It was horrible.
Oh my gosh.
That's how you guys.
Is that where you got the
No.
inspiration for Poison Kitchen?
No, I wrote that before it. But yeah, it was a fun music video, but it was not a fun time there.
It sounds like Stinky Gabe instead of Stinky Steve, you know.
I'm lactose intolerant. I should not have ate yogurt before that.
Heard.
And I was kind of curious also about the inspiration to that song. I just going by your age, I don't know how much income
Yeah, that's kind of a joke.
income
Whenever
taxes
we
you
play that
pay.
song, whenever we play that song, we're always like, we don't know why we wrote this song. He doesn't have to pay taxes.
We live in Delaware too. There's no sales tax.
There's no
so
sales tax.
Oh, all right.
But yeah, we hate taxes. So
yeah, taxes suck. We need to have no taxes at all.
We can all agree on that. Yeah.
None at all. No taxes.
So, how regularly do you play shows, and how far away from Delaware have you made it so far?
The farthest away we've gone is farthest in the north is Massachusetts, and farthest in the south is South Carolina.
yeah, we play maybe 2 to 3 shows a month.
Well, it depends.
Yeah, sometimes.
in June we have probably 6 shows.
Yeah, I think we're playing every weekend.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then in March we had 2 shows. In February we had one. One other than the Battle of the Bands.
Detroit will be the farthest we're gonna make.
Yeah, we're gonna go to. Wait, is Detroit farther than South Carolina?
Definitely. For sure.
Yeah.
Isn't it? I think they're just about the same.
I don't know. I think Detroit's a lot farther.
Yeah, I see you're playing Camp Punksylvania.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Is there any other shows that you want to promote while we're talking?
Let's see.
Shows?
So we're going on a 3-day weekend in June. So it's Erie, PA. That one's not confirmed yet. Then we're going to Detroit and playing Pug Fest. Then we're playing at a skate shop in Columbus, Ohio.
What's the New York one?
I don't. Oh, Punk Island.
Punk Island.
Yeah, it's gonna be very, very
Punk
fun.
Island.
Yeah,
So when is that?
June 8th.
June
Yeah.
8th, Punk Island.
Yeah. Also, I think in July, me and him are gonna have me and him book shows at a record store, and we just it was a couple days ago. We played the first one. Probably gonna do another one in July, and we're gonna play again. So that'll be at Squeezebox Records in Wilmington, Delaware.
Nice.
Oh,
Sometime in
nice.
July.
Do you have any I guess other bands that you fit closely with, that you share a lot of stages with, that you'd like to give a shout out to?
Let's see.
We did just play a show with Pucker Up.
Oh yeah,
They're
they're
from PA.
pop punk.
Yeah,
Don't forget the exclamation, because there's a band called Pucker Up, and then there's Pucker Up with an exclamation point.
They're Pucker Up with X.
Yeah, we played with them twice at the show we just booked, which I mentioned. They played that. They drove 3 hours down to Delaware from one show, which is wild.
Yep.
But yeah, huge thanks to them.
Yeah.
They're really, really nice people.
They're a ton of fun too.
Yep. Also, Brandish, they're really, really good.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that was the first
They're
show I
from
played.
Pennsylvania. They're Pennsylvania thrash.
We're gonna try to book them.
Yeah, we want to get them to play. They're so sick.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, I think that pretty much sums up my interview. Dan, did you have anything else?
Well, I did notice you have your own podcast.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if it's a group thing or if it's
Yeah,
just Gabe. I don't know if you want to promote that or talk about how you got that started. I saw you were interviewing some people from NoFX and stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy how we've gotten these like this many people that like 155 episodes. Like yeah, not I believe.
His mom just typed
Yeah.
that out. He doesn't remember.
Yeah,
that.
I'm not that smart.
Can you imagine? You're like, yes, I know exactly.
155 episodes. But yeah, 155 episodes. I did not know that on the top of my head. That's just what my mom says.
Yep.
Well, I forgot to ask about the name of the band. If that was like reference to just a video game and stuff, or if it's just something you thought was cool, you know.
I was trying to think of an acronym because MOD, SO, like DRI, SOD,
Mhm.
MOD, bands like that. I was like, we should have a 3-word name. And I was like, we should have a W. And then I was like, of, and C. I was like,
It's
World of Chaos.
It's so funny that you thought of the acronym before
Yeah.
the name.
The name doesn't really mean anything. It just kind of sounds cool, I think.
No, I liked it. That was part of the reason why I checked it out. I saw the name and I was like, oh, I'm gonna check this out.
Yeah.
Shout out to Gabe's mom for helping us out.
Yeah, thank you, Mom.
Yeah.
And then yeah, check out Kids in the Pit and check out World of Chaos on all streaming platforms.
Yep, Spotify.
Hell yeah, awesome. well, thanks to the three of you for getting together with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on this. This is the last.
Yes.
Yeah, keep making new music.
Yeah, we're trying.
I just thought of a good song idea.
What?
A song about someone like a gremlin living in the basement.
You just thought.
That's-
What are you talking about? You just
Like
thought
a-
of that right
No,
now.
well, I
Is
thought
that
of it
you?
last
Is that
night.
you?
Yes, because I was thinking about like, oh, I'm like a basement.
But we already have a song about you.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be about me. It can just be like a song about a gremlin.
So I think we finished the interview. So all of your dumb ideas now, you can tell us all, and we'll record all of it, but we won't judge you.
What's some ideas? I don't know.
All right, that's awesome.
So there was our interview with World of Chaos, and that concludes our podcast for episode 3, I believe. As usual, hit up that'sgoodenough4me.com for our news items. And Ed, do you have anything you wanted to add?
Anyone that's in the Newport, Kentucky area this weekend should definitely head over to Midwest Friends Festival. You got 30 bands over 2 days that are going to tear shit up at Southgate House Revival. So if you can get there, you should.
Killer. Yeah, and if people want to join us on the podcast, they should reach out to us and make our lives a little easier so we don't have to hunt them down. I want to interview that fucking low-end university guy on YouTube. Have you seen this guy?
No.
He's like, he has a Patreon and a YouTube channel, and he, I think, originally was just like a bass guitar teacher that taught people over Zoom how to play bass. And his Patreon community he was asking them to like tell him what to listen to so he could discover new music that has sick bass parts. And over the course of the last few years, he has fallen completely head over heels with like epiphat punk rock music.
Okay.
He hasn't said anything about what he used to listen to. He mentioned that he really likes Rush, but he's like kind of a geeky guy like us. He's got a really good read on how music theory works. But they went over the death of John Smith by NoFX. That was his episode that aired this week. And you just get to see the look on his face as he hears the most killer fucking punk rock of the 90s for the first time. It's really like a kind of a goosebumpy thing to watch every week. I want to interview him. So if somebody knows how to get in touch with that guy, besides just spamming his YouTube comment section, which I've tried to do. But I know that Fat Mike got in touch with this guy over the YouTube comment section.
You definitely run in the same circles. You're fine. You'll be able to.
Our names are both Mike.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm happy if you're happy, Ed.
I'm good with it.
I hope Jeff's happy because there's nothing he can do about it now because it's done and printed and rendered and ready to upload. All right. That's cute.